Hello everybody, this is the Retro Bear back once again in Commodore Corner, just round from Spectrum Street and up the alleyway from Amstrad Avenue. Welcome once again to the channel. Hope you are all well and this video finds you in good fettle. And yes, it's a Commodore 64 video. We are doing, whoops, we dropped the microphone thing on the floor, which is a really stupid thing to do because they're incredibly expensive to pick up. So Mrs. Bear has a heart attack and falls over, or collapses in the seat, one of the two. We welcome you to Commodore Corner for some more Commodore 64 gameplay. Not as many games as last time. Episode 2, those of you who waded your way through that would have realised it's probably way too long an episode to do. So we're just going to do 3 games today and try and keep the waffleage down in between the two and just try and focus it together. We are working our way through one box. I will remember to bring the box up one episode and show you exactly what I'm trying to do, which is basically take a cardboard box which is full of games and just take certain games out. It might take me a lot longer to do this, but the videos will be shorter, a bit more manageable, I'm hoping anyway. So what we got for you today? Well, we got 3. Now, games I don't really know an awful lot about because I never played any of these before. Will I play any of these again afterwards? Yeah, we shall see. It's a very, very strange 3 games for you. And I'm not sure if there's a winner. But let us get on with the first one, because it was the first one I played. And this was a 90s phenomenon. You're all familiar with these people, or these guys here. It's the Teenage Mutant Hero, don't call them Ninja Turtles. And this is the game which is on the NES as well. This is the one that sold lots of NESs over here. But this is not the conversion of the arcade game, so I haven't got that one. Interesting enough, there was a special limited edition with some free turtle stuff in there. There was a enamel badge, some stickers, some tattoos and postcards. Unfortunately, they aren't in here anymore. This is a really interesting little find, this one, because I'll get to this in a second. I'll just show you the inside. There was a green bag, which I don't think is the original green bag. Again, you must sort of excuse the sunlight because it's a very strange time of the day. It's far too light in here to have the light on, the artificial lighting, so I'm having the natural light come in, and unfortunately about 30 minutes time I can get blinded by the sun coming right at me. So if this starts to disappear in the background, don't worry about that. Oh yeah, again in the background, Jackal on the NES. This is off emulator. I don't think it actually does any games footage, which is going to do that for all the background. But I never played Jackal, but I remember seeing it an awful lot advertised in magazines when I was a kid. I don't think it's meant to be very good, but I'm not entirely sure. So anyway, there's a tape. That's the Turtles tape. You can just see that there. Not an awful lot to see. And the manual. Now, the manual was really interesting because right in the centre of the manual, and we talked about this before, this is copy protection. Now, when the game loads up, as you will see, it asks you to type in a code relating to mission number. The thing is, you can't actually read that. You can't actually take a photograph of it. You can't actually stick it under a spotlight and read them. So what you needed, I think we probably would have given away at the time, would be like a red strip of film, which you would then sort of put over that and it would release a code. This is the copy protection thing we had to deal with back in the 90s. 1990s game would have been out. Luckily, we have the internet nowadays. I thoroughly recommend it. If you've never used the internet, use it. It's brilliant. And I managed to sort of print off all the codes. So somebody somewhere has sort of realised this has happened. So all these codes here are for it. So I now have put that in the box. Should at some point in the future, probably very likely, that I will move all this stuff on when I'm too old to play it, or I need the money. I don't know. And they're in there for that. And there's the back of the box as well. So this is the game that shifted a lot of NESs in the UK. The question is, as we always ask on Commodore Corner, is it any good? Well, you don't need me to tell you that. Let's have a look at some gameplay footage. Okay, so we have Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles then on the Commodore 64. As you can see, we're loading it the old-fashioned way because that's the way we do things here on the Retro Bear channel. What is it to tell you about the loading? Well, not an awful lot really. This is what you get halfway through. Then it sort of switches over to this, which is sort of the title screen, which gives you an idea of how extravagant things were back then. And then from here, not an awful lot happens. You have to load this bit in to then load the next bit in. And you can see terrible music. I'm not even sure that's meant to be the Turtles theme tune in the background, but it's absolutely appalling. It really, really is. In fact, the whole music about this, the whole thing about the music in this game is just utterly terrible. As you mentioned earlier, this is a conversion of the NES console game, not the arcade game, which we perhaps would have wanted more than before. And what you get is a little brief sort of introduction to all the turtles. There's a Raphael there, all named after artists, weren't they? I think, is it artists? I'm pretty sure, although Leonardo was probably the only one. Michelangelo was quite popular. Nunchuckers, which of course was the reason they changed it from Ninja Turtles to Hero Turtles, and they'll always be Ninja Turtles to me. And then finally we've got Donatello, whose favourite weapon, of course, is Bow. Bow who? Derek? Bow Selector, maybe? I don't know. And there they are in all their Commodore 64 glory for you to sort of look and go, my goodness me, how bad was that? Now, as I alluded to in the review, you need a passcode, and this is the problem. You can't load the tape any further until you have those passcodes, which are managed to find from the internet, so we are able to at least load the game in, which, if had we not got to that point, it would have been a rather short video. So let's show you my second attempt, which was probably an awful lot better than my first one. So this is where you sort of start. I think at least it's where I started. Now I can't quite remember. This is what you're presented with. You're sort of dropping down the manholes into sewers, and then you're encountering a number of enemies on screen, be it whatever that is, that blue thing there, which just seems to eat my energy. I appear to be waving some sort of cutlass in the air, which doesn't seem to be doing an awful lot of good. And these little robot things, which I seem to remember from the arcade game, although that's all they do in it. Basically, this thing just run at you. There's no sort of attempt to, sort of hit me. They just keep running into me and draining all my energy. Some bees, a giant wasp up there as well. So you just jump up the platforms and find out the quickest and easiest and less painful way to get to the end. Obviously, there's ladders you can go up and down. Good thing you can jump onto the ladders. I don't even know what that is. It looks like, I'm not entirely sure what that is. That yellow thing there. I presume I'm going to collect that. In fact, I'm just doing it the hard way. In fact, go that way and jump up. There we go. Energy by the looks. It must be a pizza slice. Although it didn't look like a pizza slice. What are the controls like? Yeah, they're all right. I mean, they ain't nothing special to sort of shout about. I've got to be honest with you. There's no sort of technical genius needed. You just need to move left and right and straight into a swarm of bees. And just sort of press the fire button and do that, really. There's no sort of... It's not like the arcade game where you've got to, options in attack. There just doesn't seem to be anything particularly exciting about it. And you can see why people just didn't like this game. I'm not even sure that's meant to be correct. You're sort of half on the platform there. I don't know whether there's a glitch in the game or not, I don't know. Now, these two characters here, I seem to remember from the cartoon series very, very briefly. Bebop and Rocksteady. You sort of kill the one and the other one runs off with whatever that was at the top of the screen, so you just follow him through here. You're trying to negotiate your way around this giant map. You have absolutely no idea where you're meant to be going, so you just find the sort of manholes and drop down there. Beware of that truck, because if you end up sort of touching that truck at any point, it'll kill you. Well, you turtles are meant to get run over by trucks, I don't really know. And there's a dead turtle. So you automatically move from one turtle to the other, pick any of the three that are available, and you just sort of carry on. Pick up where you left off. I've got an even worse weapon here by the looks of it, some sort of fork. Looks very good for eating spaghetti with, I'll give it that, but I don't think... they were pizza lovers, weren't they, turtles, anyway? And just all of mine seem to be disappearing rapidly, and I'm just waving this sort of thing around, and it's not really killing anything. Apologies for the slowdown here. There's a fair bit on screen at the moment. Not sure where that comes from. Not really helping my game playing either really, but then again, I don't think anything really can do. We've got 2 small bars of energy left here, so I'm probably... Well, you can sort of fire upwards, which is quite good. You can jump that now. And you see, it's a dead end, so I've come down this manhole and there's no way out of here. So there's absolutely no point in me coming down this one. So I need to find another one with my third turtle, Mike. Yeah. We all like Mike. Everyone loves Mike. But yeah, I mean, this is just nothing special to shout about. I've got to be fair with it. It is a very sort of bog standard, not very good platform game, and it's running terribly on this capture card. It really is. But yeah, I just didn't like this, full stop. It really, I don't think it was fun. Would I? Yeah, if I had the opportunity to sit down and play it a bit more, then maybe yes, I suppose. Really, I'd give it a bit more of a go. But I just felt a lot of walking around, and yeah. Anyway, what a shame. What a shame. It could have been great, but no, not a great game. This one. Yeah, not overly impressed with that. I think there is in some way that I think this probably is a good game trying to get out, and I'm not quite sure why it is. I suppose really that was always going to be if you played the arcade game, that was always going to be a disappointment. I know the NES game itself doesn't sort of, shall we say, hold up particularly well nowadays. I think even at the time it was sort of very average. But yeah, it just suffers from the usual things, sort of like poor collision detection, enemies that move too fast and require too many hits, cheap deaths. I mean, obviously you saw me getting run over by that truck a couple of times, and really no idea of what I was meant to be doing, to be honest, apart from going up holes and down holes, or in some cases going down holes which led absolutely nowhere. Don't know. It's one of those that's going to sit in the middle. Would I play it a bit more if I had some time? Yes, because the second... the footage you saw was the second go I had at it. The first go I didn't get very far at all, but that's the second go, so obviously there's some progress to be made there. Would I put a huge amount of time going back into it? No, I can't recommend it. I don't know, if I was doing this sort of thumbs up, thumbs down, it's going to be sort of sitting somewhere about there, sort of not quite up, but it's not in the middle. It's sort of there. I suppose one of those, it's a magazine sort of thing, if it would rate like 60% or something like that, they would say anything between 60 and 70, you might like it, you might not. And I think that's where that one sits. So let's move on to the next game. My goodness me. Again, love finding things in boxes. This is great, because you must remember a lot of this stuff I picked up. This is, by the way, Turtles game. That's the game you're looking for. If you find it, great. Have a go. I don't think it's any better on any other system. I don't think it's particularly great. Going through all these boxes, sometimes the first time in 10 years since I've had this stuff, or maybe even just slightly less than that. It's amazing what I've actually found. It's the stuff that sort of ends up in there. I mean, like, I didn't know there was a code for that game, which is really sort of bugging my up there. So the second game to play is Nightbreed, the action game. Now, this was from a horror film, Clive Barker, I think it was. Again, around about sort of the early 90s. And this was part of a pack that came out for the Amiga, I think it was. I've commented there was a Commodore 64 pack as well. But I know there's a compilation called Night Moves, and I know why there is. Well, I knew why there was anyway, but I shall inform you further. Let's have a look inside the box. We've got a lovely ocean bag. And again, I'm finding loads of these, like they've got bags and things with them. This is brilliant. Extra bonuses. We've got the instructions in here, which you can just see at the back, which I'm not going to dig out. Now also, we've got tape. We've got tapes. See, this is the tape for the game. So there it is. That's the... I think there was two games. There was the action game and the adventure game. So I'm not quite sure what the difference between the two is. Like the Indiana Jones Last Crusade, the action game and the adventure game. There's two sorts. But this one here, there was also another copy of Nightbreed in here. And this is from... You might just see there at the top, if I can get it in position. Possibly not. Well, it says Nightbreed... Night Moves, there we go. Night Moves pack, not for resale. Now I know about the Night Moves pack because I picked that game up in the trade I did with Ginger Hippie earlier this year. So why there are two copies of the game in here, I don't know. Does it hurt to have more than one copy of the game? Not really, because we all know this sort of media is desperately unreliable. Well, I ain't done too bad so far. So yeah. I don't know what to make of it. Also, obviously being a horror film, this is notice no classification on the game at all. Now, I know Sean Retro Games Revives and mentioned a couple of games by CRL which were brought out in the mid-80s for the Commodore 64 based around Dracula and Frankenstein the Wolfman, and some of those actually had classifications on them. This one doesn't. I don't think that's because it's particularly graphic, but back then you possibly would have been able to do something a bit more with it. I can't remember if the Amiga versions were sort of certificated. Somebody may have to fill me in on that one. Yeah, this one is going to be a little bit painful. Not my gameplay, thank goodness. Let's have a look. Nightbreed on the Commodore 64. So we move on to the horror-laden world of Nightbreed. A film I was aware of, but well, I would never seen because I don't like horror films. Yes, I'm likely to poo my pants should I see something like that. You can see why. Ah, that's scary as hell, isn't it? Look at that. Yeah, I mean, where do you start with that? There's all sorts of things wrong with it. I'm not sure. But again, no classifications back in the day. We didn't have anything like that, you know. It wasn't until probably 3 years after this, 2-3 years after this at least, before we started getting age ratings widely on games. I think we probably had a few before that. I mentioned 80s horror games like Wolfman, Dracula, Frankenstein, which did, from CRL, which did have classifications on them, but generally speaking, no. And that is rather scary. I have got to be honest with you. That will give you nightmares. Yeah, anyway, it loads up, and after 5 minutes we get something rather special actually, and I thought it was really rather good. Let's have a look. Here we go, and it loads up to this, which is a rather interesting telling of the story, but also I think there's a great soundtrack which plays in it. You may just be able to hear it. The reason I haven't turned it up is because it is quite loud. Obviously, it might be a proper piece of music and I might get sued for it, so we don't want that, do we? But yeah, you sort of read this and you think, wow, this is really rather good, and I urge you to read it because some of the words there I can't work out, but I'll try and fill it in. Midian, an underground labyrinth beneath the necropolis city of the dead. Through the centuries, Midian faded into legend spoken of by the mad and condemned, a place where all sins are forgiven, or as we know it now, Scunthorpe. Foretold in the history of Midian comes a man bringing death and destruction to the Nightbreed, but will ultimately save them. You are Boone, destined to become Cabal survivor of the Nightbreed, or saviour. By coming to Midian, you have unleashed man in the form of Sons of the Free, an armed neo-Nazi organisation led by Eigerman, the chief of police. Their aim is the total destruction of the Nightbreed. I can't keep up with this, so I'm going to stop doing that now. Also, I thought the music's really good and it sounds really exciting. You know, Dr. Decker, in fact, is the multiple murderer, and the form of his alter ego, the Mask, or as you know, Jim Carrey nowadays, and your girlfriend, Laurie, the only witness. I think, yeah, if he's on the back of the box, you go, wow, this is great. It saves you reading the book, I dare say. Save yourself some pennies. But yeah, I don't want to cut it off before it finishes. We've got this far now, haven't we? We've got this far. Under the onslaught of the Sons of the Free, the very structure of Midian is collapsing, so his time is of the essence. Due to this collapse, some berserkers have been released. Now, Boone, play out your destiny. Good luck. And there we go. And then you get this, and then you have to press a button, and then another 5 minutes later, this happens. You get a game. And you can just about make out, right in the centre of the picture there's a character. You can just about make it out. You've got your lives across the top there, which is your face. Every time you get hit, that sort of turns into the skulls, which you can see at the bottom. That's what it'll turn to. And a little message bar at the top there, which sort of tells you little things as you go along, which is helpful, but you don't always see it because you're too busy concerning yourself with what's going on the screen, which is rather strange. Now, let's see if we can move on. Yes, so I've worked out what to do there. So I may have been away from the computer for a second there. So yes, and then there's sort of some bloke here which you can sort of basic punching and kicking mechanisms. But every time he hits you or you hit him, you sort of go sliding back about 5 foot. So if you come onto the screen and he knocks you off the screen, you've got to start all over again, which is a bit of a pain. And as you can see, top right hand corner now, you can see the face is slowly turning into a skull because I'm being absolutely terrible as always And yeah, you've got to go around sort of beating these people up and then hit these gate type things, and you can walk through them. Now, he's got a flamethrower. Now, where did that come from? He's killed him, but he's obviously respawned, and this is the problem that you have with the game. And he's obviously got some sort of homing device. And he did say at the very top left-hand corner at the moment, it says look out grenades, which is really useful when they're firing that on you on the screen, to actually look at the top left-hand corner in completely the different direction, and it doesn't really help at all. And this was sort of, I think, oh, this is rather dull. This is, it's really, really dull. Those are good actually. If you do that sort of like slide kick, it works pretty well. You can just walk through the gates here, and there's somebody else with a gun, and there's another grenade probably coming. If you go bang, there we go. I'm going to blow you away, Breed. I'm not sure. He looks like something out of Ghostbusters, or possibly even what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, a sort of a one of those people going picking up litter with those sticks with a spike in the back of his bucket. I don't really know what it's meant to be, having not seen the film or read the book. I've got no interest, but it does appear to be that for the first place, it's a very sort of like kicking and punching and all a bit dull really, and I was doing a little bit of disservice because it gets a little bit more interesting as we go along. And there's some sort of, he's shooting me again, he shoots me, he then punches around, then stops shooting me for some reason. I don't know why he stopped shooting me. But yeah, this is all you can do: kick and punch. There's not a lot of finesse to this. And you pick up that, you have the first key to Midian. Lovely. How many of those keys do I need? I have absolutely no idea. I should pop into Timpson's and see if they can make me a couple of copies. If you're watching outside the UK, Timpson's is a place where you can go and get your keys cut. I thought it might be relevant to add to that. Yeah, so this is the first level. Once you get past the first bit, there's another few moments sitting there waiting for the thing to load in, and then you end up on the second level, or the second bit, and you end up being underground. Where am I? I'm behind that giant rock at the moment. There we go. So we join this in progress, and again, it's just more of the same. And there's a ladder there to go down even further, but do you know what? There is like that rumbling effect. That's not the screen. I know I've had issues with some capture moments on the turtle stuff, but that's actually part of the effects on it, which is really quite funny. Yeah, it's quite a good effect, that. I mean, there are some really nice touches to this game. I do think probably on a better defined system, say 16-bit or something, these sort of graphics would be a lot better. I appear to be getting pulverised by a giant frog at the moment. You see if I can jump no matter where I want to. I can't actually kill him. And I've got no idea what those blue orbs are either, but I think do they restore energy, or do they take energy away? Oh, they take energy away. No, they restore energy. Yeah, they actually restore energy, those orbs. They do help you. I'm just seems to be having a death wish with this giant frog. You can't get far enough away from him to get up the ladder. Look, you know, every time I try and get up the ladder, he jumps at me and knocks me off. See? Bugger off. Stop doing that. Oh my god, it's so annoying. I can't remember. It's like, go away. Oh man, come over here. Oh. Try and get far enough away so I can lure him and keep him out. And oh man. Usually the old days I'd have thrown this across the room by now. I do get out of there. There we go, I'm out of there. There we go. I've just forward it on a little bit. I do get out of there. But I think it's you know, it's a fair looking game. I don't think it's too bad. But it's got a horrendous multi-load. I would suggest if you are going to play this, don't do it the old school way. Do it where you can get yourself a sort of digital copy, if you know what I mean. Download it as one of those C64 files or something like that. Don't get this version, because you'll be sitting there for an awful long time. Because being a multi-load, if you die in a level, then you've got to rewind the tape and start all over again. It's a bit annoying. But I think in here is a fairly good game trying to get out. And I think with a bit more practice and a bit more go at it, I would happily play it again. And I've always avoided this game because I was under the impression it was rather terrible. And you can see, this is now meant to be loading in the introduction. I'm not sure how it's doing that because we've gone past the introduction. That was before. This is now further on the tape, so I'm not quite sure how this works out. But we should leave Nightbreed as it is, and we'll go and have a look at the summing up. Oh man, I don't like horror films anyway. Don't get me started on horror films. I really don't like horror films. I just don't find them necessary. We can live without them. But that, again, I think there's a game in there, a decent game that's sort of trying to get out. But I, again, had so sort of little idea as to what I was meant to be doing, where I was meant to be going. I mean, graphically it looked all right. I think the sound was pretty, I like the lightning effect. But that multi-load, oh my God. What on earth was going on there? I mean, that if you thought that was bad, wait till you see the next game. Because, geez. But, yeah, having to sort of, and so much was loaded in. You could see perhaps why, because there was a lot of graphical prowess about that game. It did look pretty good. I mean, I know some people looking at it think, oh, it looks blocky, and it's, one person will say, oh, it looks very brown, because he always does. Hi, David, if you're watching. But it looked a fairly sort of decent game with a lot of effort been put. The music on the title screen was brilliant. Although there's no loading music, very strange, but the music on that title was really fantastic. I think there was a good game in there trying to get out, and I must be honest with you, I probably would go back and play that again and try and give it a bit more of a go, but I'm not sure how far I get. But I liked it. It's again, I'd say, is it better than the Turtles game? Yeah, if I was recommending the 3 games today to you, spoiler, I'll be recommending this one, okay? It sort of sits somewhere between the two, really. But I like that one. I can't deny it. I must have thought it was going to be terrible. I really did like it. So, yeah. Don't think it's anything sensational, but if you get a chance to pick it up, do so. Can't remember if there's a Hit Squad release for it, whether it just came out like that, the big box or not, I don't know, can't remember. I can't remember how I got hold of it either, but that's by the by. Right, final game for this episode of Commodore Corner. My goodness me. I'm so disappointed with this one, so disappointed. It's The Amazing Spider-Man and Captain America in Doctor Doom's Revenge from Empire Software. Now, Empire are also responsible for Gazza's Super Soccer. Spoiler, that's coming in the next episode. But this was going to be sort of quite a unique game. You're using 2 superhero. Bear in mind, superhero game at this point really hadn't existed. This is before the whole superhero phenomenon of the Marvel universe and all that rubbish that hit the cinemas and sort of completely destroyed that for people who used to like reading the comics when I was a kid. This sort of thing to me back in sort of 1989, 1990, I was like, wow, this is great. I want a game based on Spider-Man and Captain America. So I would have been very happy to have a copy of this. I never played it. It was out on the Amiga. I never played it on the Amiga. What have we got inside? Well, another bonus. So, not a problem. Not a bonus. We got some instructions. Oh yeah, there's instructions. Doctor Doom. Not exactly the most exciting set of instructions I've seen in my entire life, but they're there nonetheless. Complete, as we call them in this trade. Excuse me. Here's the tape. There we go. And also in here was this, which is nothing to do with the game. This is an audio book, The Amazing Spider-Man, The Big Top Mystery. Now, if you go onto YouTube and type that in, someone's actually uploaded the audio file for this. It's one of those books. You used to get a book and a tape years and years ago. I had an Empire Strikes Back one, which had audio from the film as well as some bloke reading the story out to you. And it was great. When you used to let the batteries run down, it was really good on the tape recorder because, like, you had this bit where Luke Skywalker, no, I'm never going to join you. Like, no, I've never entered your. It's really funny, really funny. But yeah, that's on YouTube somewhere. The Amazing Spider-Man, The Big Top Mystery audio file. Go and listen to it. But that was in there. It's nothing to do with the game at all. I don't know why it was in there, but it's nice finding these little extra bonuses. I love it. That's probably about where my enjoyment with the game went, because it did miss out. I mean, yes, there are sort of Spider-Man, Captain America and Doctor Doom in it. Oh, tell you what, there's the back of the box. It's a very colourful looking game, no doubt about it. Tell you what, watch the footage and we'll talk about it afterwards. And so on to this week's crowning turd in the water pipe, which is Doctor Doom's Revenge. Horrible game. Absolutely Terrible game this is. It's another multi-load, so again, if you are compelled to play this, go and get this on digital. Don't do it this way. After about 4.5 minutes, you get this, which is a rather nice loading screen. It tells you all you need to know. Very good representation of the characters there. Being a comic book fan, I know all about that. Very, very nice start to it. Let's move forward, because again, it loads bits and pieces in, so we'll just work our way forward to the first sort of stage with Captain America, and you get this wonderful comic book representation. Now, if anybody used to read comic books like I did, you'll know this is exactly the sort of thing you used to love, and it sort of tells a story. And there is a glove, you can see top left hand corner of the first screen. There we go, I'm moving it around now. You sort of move that around to sort of move through the story. So you click on that. If you click on Cap arrives at Doctor Doom's castle, it then takes you to the next picture, and then this is sort of an action sequence. So you load this bit in, and then you'll work your way through the other one after that. So again, after another couple of minutes, you see where this one's going, can't you? It then loads in the first game, and it's Captain America versus a robot. And yeah, I managed to work out how to throw the shield. Yeah, I'm just sort of pausing for dramatic effect there, because this is really, really rotten. You've got the bars at the bottom, so my energy is being slowly depleted as I'm trying to work out what the hell I'm meant to be doing and find out a weak spot on this robot. It is just a robot after all. I mean, it's not like, you know, Dr. Octopus or anything. And then all of a sudden I found out that if you do this quickly enough, before he gets a chance to kill you, you'll kill the robot. So after that, I then press the button, and it moves forward to the next screen, and the next screen, and the next screen. And then that there, when it opens the glove up, means there's an action sequence, and then you load some more stuff in. However, it does say Doctor Doom's Revenge, starring Captain America and Spider-Man. Oh yes, Spider-Man is in this, and here's proof. He's got his own sequence. It loads in a different section each time. Here's Spider-Man. There we go. So they're actually working together, although we're working on separate stories. So again, exactly the same thing as before. You get a comic book sequence, you press the fire button, it moves through each one there. And you've got this guy called Machete, who I'm guessing has got some sort of, I don't know, thing that goes chop. I don't remember Machete being a Spider-Man villain. But again, Spider-Man's taken a robot. We can have a quick look at Spider-Man in action. I think probably best thing to do. Oh, there we go. There we go. So Spider-Man is in action against a robot, and exactly the same thing applies. You've got to find the sweet spot. Spider-Man does have webs, which you'll notice above his blue energy bar is a little thin bar across there, and it tells you have 100 of these to use per battle. You can just have fired one there by mistake, but that is it. I mean, it's just so basic, this combat. It really is, you know, man, just and we moan about games nowadays, or say the new Avengers game that came out. Well, we see just there, crouching and kicking, bang, job done. Move on to the next one. Just I don't know, it's just so uninspiring, this combat, and I can see why this game really did not do very well at the time. It was a real shame, because there weren't games like this for fans of superheroes back then. Just very, very quickly, just show you the last penultimate battle I got to, which is a well-known comic book character, well-known villain, Rhino. And as you can see there, I am doing exactly the same thing again. I'm trying to beat Rhino to beat me to the punch, and I end up sort of fly kicking, or, you know, low blowing him with my shield to bit. And then the next thing you get after that, after encountering Rhino, you then load in a robot gorilla. Man, I don't know. Yeah, this one is not good, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to tell you why. So let's not delay that and hold you up any further, and let's get to the summing up of Captain America and Spider-Man in Doctor Doom's Revenge. Oh dear me. I cannot honestly truly believe that happened. I mean, I thought Nightbreed was painful. And I know some of these we've had games so far I've shown this, but we've done 6, 8, this is the 11th game we've done now. And then some of these are multi-loads and what have you. Some of them aren't. You can look at the tape and see there's not a lot of tape. I'll be straight load, but I can play that in one go. And all these things with giant sort of sections of tape. This is going to be a multi-load. and it just kills it, and it's so basic. I mean, there's been no attempt to sort of make this anything other than sort of like some sort of crappy pre-Street Fighter 2 type thing where, you know, you just got two people going left to right and hitting each other, and the first one who hits the other one the most wins. That's it. And there's no finesse to it. There's no strategy. There's nothing. You saw there, you could quite get into a crouch position and hold fire down and press bottom left or bottom right, sorry, and kick and throw. If Spider-Man kicking or throw in the shield like you with Captain America. And provided you didn't take too much damage, you can keep going through the rest of the game like that. It was the only effective way to do it. Oh man, that was such a disappointment. I remember it got poor reviews when it came out, but what a waste of a license. What a waste. Really, really was. And I remember seeing it in the magazines, reviewing the magazines, how bad it was, and even usually that would not deter me. I would still go and buy a bad game. But gee, I wouldn't touch that one with a barge pole. Honestly, don't buy that one. Flush that one down the toilet. This one, if you've got some time and a bit of patience, yeah, sort of slightly recommend it. This is your recommendation for this episode, Nightbreed. I think there is a good game in there trying to get out. I like the background story to it. I'm not overly keen on the source material, but this looks to me like the best one. It's certainly more playable of the three. I hope you've enjoyed that. Strange old episode, but they can't all be winners, can they? We've had some great games so far, and we've had some absolute rot now, so that's good. And wait till we get to next week, because I think next week is going to be sort of sports related, possibly sports related, and a classic literary character. I know what's coming. In the meantime, if you have enjoyed that, there's a thing there. It'll go bing in a minute, something like that. Anyway, click on that. It'll tell you when I'm putting a new video up. It'll also give you put a like on the video, and you'll be able to subscribe as well if you want to do that. Please do leave a comment below if you are enjoying the series. I know some people really are. Some people have come over from other channels, which is fantastic. So hopefully we'll try and keep carrying these on. Until the next time, anyway, down Commodore Corner, this is the Retro Bear, walking off in the other direction of Amiga Boulevard. No, it can't Boulevard. Oh, I'm not going down Spectrum Street for sure. I'll go somewhere else anyway. But until I see you the next time, this is the Retro Bear saying toodaloo, take care, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.